All right, next episode of Strive's Talking Points, and I would like to discuss briefly the Huffington Post personnel shutdown. They're closing down their opinion group as a division. I mean, it's just going to be moved away. They're getting rid of it, and that has sparked a little bit of movement on each side, and there are stories starting to pop up here and there, Facebook, Twitter, and people are kind of getting into it. So I'd like to drop my 2 cents in and kind of go through something that I've noticed on this. So first off, how to pitch a piece to Huffington Post. If you want to go through here, basically they want you to send them something, summarize your story idea, explain why you're the right person, write the piece, relevant expertise or experience. Briefly explain why the argument or story matters, what the stakes are. Outline the piece, start to end. If you have a draft, include that in the body of the email. Make sure it's clear, informative, subject, all this. They really are needing people to fire off good stories to them. We feature writers from different backgrounds and identities with distinct voices, points of view, writing about a variety of topics. Now, I would like to say that they do not have points of view. Mostly what you see with a lot of the publishers that are having the greatest issue these days is they have a singular point of view, many voices, one point of view. They go for diversity of race and gender without diversity of thought or opinion, which is kind of dangerous because you're limiting what you can reach. Race, gender, sexuality, disability, intersectionality, health, mental health, sex, love, relationship. They are throwing a wide net, but really what you kind of end up with is a very simplified view on, tends to be everything. So we're going to go through. Huffington Opinion. This is the part that's being shut down. Story 1, the Covington Teens. Tomahawk Chop is the product of native mascottery. Basically saying that these teens were doing the tomahawk chop because they've seen it in, well, sports. That's actually probably fairly true. You tend to see, it used to be the Atlanta Braves and a few other teams did the tomahawk chop. It really has nothing to do with Native Americans. It's just a stereotype that's been drawn out for centuries. Republicans demonized government for decades. The shutdown belongs to them. That is an opinion. They've actually had multiple offers from the right conservatives. The Republicans have issued several compromises, several things to the Democrats, and the Democrats have either flatly turned it down or refused to vote, or, they are not wanting a compromise. They want their way, which that's actually a trend we're seeing in our government from the left and the right, is our way or the highway. Raising the minimum wage would save American lives. If you think trans rights are a distraction, you're part of the problem. Twitter user suspended over MAGA teen video doesn't look like a Russian troll. I believe that was a troll or an account from South America, if I'm remembering that properly. The teachers and parents of Covington High School. These are all things focused on news, face expulsion. Look at
artificial intelligence.
These are people who are kind of going after one group. Should have been a peaceful occasion for peaceful protest and acknowledgement of Native American experience in our country. No, they actually were there not for the Native American experience. They were there for the right to life, not for a Native American protest. There were only a handful of Native American protesters in the area, and these boys went there for the right to life. So right off the bat, the opinion piece is starting out with their side. For many in this country, MAGA hats amount to an explicit message of racial intolerance and bigotry. They now associate the MAGA hats with racism, hatred, and bigotry, and this story, through these opinion columns, is just being retold and retold. If you wear a MAGA hat, you are a racist, bigot, hate person. When we come back here, we'll notice the next part on this Huffington opinion is Democrats need to start Trump-Russia hearings now. It is not like we haven't already been through a year or two's worth of Trump-Russia hearings on all types of matters. It's not like we haven't had massive gotcha moments that led nowhere, that were proven false, that just continue and continue and continue. Gillette masculinity ad is actually quite conservative. There is nothing in there that I've noticed as conservative. It has all been
My son's dead. Tell me what happened.
extremely one-sided. Commercial products of mainstream radicalized feminism and emblematic of cultural Marxism. Candace Owens. Stop perverting masculinity. Let boys wrestle. Bravo. I really think that's a good idea. Gillette is saying they believe instead we believe in the best in men rather than a condemnation. The commercial is an exhortation that, don't know that word, sorry, that men be the best selves. And certainly they can be. The ad's closing, it's only challenging. Basically, it is not that way. It is telling men, shows men saving the day, breaking up fistfights. That is actually not what it does. The last few seconds of the commercial, I've watched it multiple times. Defending a woman's honor. The only defending a woman's honor in the entire video is when the one guy who is filming a party with a camera, him and his friend, filming a party, another guy cuts him off and says, "Don't do that," and gets up, and they look very violent. If you watch the commercial, it's evident. And another man where he cuts off another guy who sees a girl outside in the street and wants to talk to her, and apparently that is also hateful. Fulfill their parenting duties. The only parenting in there is one guy stops two boys from fighting. Another man tells his daughter that she's great. That is a far leftist commercial about how bad men are. Too easy for black women to get caught in cycles of abuse. Unfortunately, I don't know that that's black or white women. The biggest problem most women have in cycles of abuse is when they're trying to use themselves as sexual currency. You see that all the time. Can black people be racist? As a white mom raising white kids in America, I pride myself on being conscious as possible when it comes about racism. I teach them not to be colorblind, to judge people, not to be colorblind, just to judge people based on their color. But last week, who is a black man, told me I'll never understand what racism is like because I'm white. You are white, and you are never going to understand what other people go through because empathy does not exist in reality anymore. You have lost all problems. This is a white woman. Women are higher on the oppression tier than, or I should say lower than black men. So therefore, woman racist never will accumulate. Though I certainly wouldn't call this racism. I'm white, and I wouldn't. No, well, treat people of color, never, never, never. Short answer, I agree with your coworker. You will never understand what racism is like unless you go to a country populated by another race, and then you are the minority, in which case you will have racist stuff against you. Yeah. Let's not confuse racism with prejudice. Oh, we're going to read this here. Prejudice is the belief that a person or group of people are less than because of who they are. Who they are. So prejudiced against group. In other words, if a black woman tells you not to bring your bland raisin-infused potato skin salad to the cookout because white folks think salt is the best way to season food, she's not being racist. She's displaying prejudice against you and against your potato salad. That is hilarious. This is a statement that is a lie. Black people can be prejudiced as hell, just like any other group of people. In fact, all humans can be prejudiced against one another, but just because a black person hurt your feelings, that doesn't mean you've experienced racism. Another lie from the left. Only certain groups can be racist, and as a person of color, black people are never allowed to be considered racist. Going on down, evolution. Look at all this. This is just Trump's crumbling wall of GOP political support. It's actually not. Democrats are afraid of Andrea AOC too, and it's a good thing because she has no idea what she's doing. She actually voted no here recently on the government shutdown strictly because there was money in it for ICE. She received approximately 15,000 votes out of 150,000 in her community because no Republican ran. She is, I think, pretty attractive, but other than that, I don't see any need to talk about her. And here's one big thing that they've got on here. This mild-mannered senator, 25-minute takedown of Ted Cruz sets Twitter afire. Briefly.
An unconstitutional emergency to build that wall. That's the business of the senator from Texas. I can assure you that in Colorado, if a president said he was going to use eminent domain to erect a barrier across the state of Colorado, across the Rocky Mountains of Colorado, he was going to steal the property of our farmers and ranchers.
Now, this is something that's just amazing. You don't farm or have any type of property along the actual border area. There will be minimal stuff. Most of the area along the border is considered a desert. It is not something people worry about. And early on,
the years to work in a bipartisan way with the presiding officer, with my Republican colleagues, but these crocodile tears that the senator from Texas is crying.
The crocodile tears thing has been all over the place. It's in these tweets. Crocodile tears support this guy. Look at his victorious thing. Oh my God, Ted Cruz is gone. Don't make me angry. All this stuff. Now let's listen.
For first responders are too hard for me to take. They're too hard for me to take. Because when the senator from Texas shut this government down in 2013, my state was flooded.
All right. Colorado flood. The United States shutdown was for 16 days, October 1st to October 17th. Colorado flood occurred on September 9th and went on for about 14 days across 24 counties. It was a massive issue after getting dry ground in Evans in September 16th. So most of this flood went through tragedy. You have your 8 dead, 6 missing. Estimated cost $1 billion. Start date was on the 9th. And as a flood, within a matter of weeks, the waters had receded and people were rebuilding. So first responders were not affected by something that happened several weeks after. So what he's doing is he's playing to the mob. That's a story that is untrue.
It was underwater.
Not during any part of the government shutdown.
People were killed.
Not during the government shutdown.
People's houses were destroyed.
At least 2 weeks before the government shutdown.
Their small businesses were ruined.
Before the government shutdown.
Forever.
All of these things happened before the government shutdown and have no part and parcel to play with what he's talking about. He's basically saying extend the government shutdown or don't build the wall because in my state it flooded once before government shutdown and then we shut the government down after all that had happened and, horrible. It was shut down for 16 total days. So you can kind of go with that. Republicans cynically demonizing government for decades. The shutdown belongs to them, except for the fact that so far we've had multiple reaches going out, pay the workers, restart the government, all of which have been shut down by the Democratic Party because they do not want this to happen. Huffington Post shutters its opinion and health sections because they are not working. Go gun violence, opiate crisis today eliminated its health staff. You're looking for a creative storytelling, deep sourcing? Hire me. I'm a blue check mark on Twitter, and I will enforce a far left agenda. These places are shutting down because no one wants to hear the message anymore. They are not getting through to people. It is just insane. If you think you're part of the trans rights, this is the last part of this one. If you think trans rights are a distraction, you're part of the problem. You are part of the problem. Why are you part of the problem? Because somewhere between 0.005% to 0.014% of people who are assigned birth through a gender assigned, those mixed babies, which can be either way, are misdone. They decide they're the other way. And if you look at transgender across the world, in the United States, one effort to quantify gave rough an estimate of 0.03% of adults in the U.S. are transgender. The only way you move that number up is if you mix it in with gays, lesbians, and bisexuals. That's it. If you think trans rights are a distraction, you're part of the problem. Trans rights is such a minor issue. 0.3% of adults. Even when you mix it in with gays and lesbians, it's still 3.5%. That doesn't give you a huge population. So of all the people in the U.S., all the people in the world, they're targeting 0.3%. Widen your net. Talk about real issues, real problems that people are facing. Don't shoot for a market of 10,000 people in a nation of 100 million. Focus efforts on making money. That's why these places are crumbling, because they do not shoot for large groups of people. They target the tiniest little pieces, and that's it. Nothing comes out of it. They are losing money. These places cannot exist like that. Stop it. If you want to make a news article, hit a broad topic of people and be happy that people want to listen to you. Thank you and have a great day.